Welcome back, Youngzers. I believe this is episode 50. Is this the Big 50?
I
I think
believe
so. I
so.
think I think it's episode 50. Dan, confirm, please. I don't want to lead people on when
I
we should be
gotcha.
celebrating episode
I
50 when we're not.
gotcha.
I'm pretty sure it is. But anyway, we got some news to talk about. We got Penguins talk. We haven't talked about them in a while, so we got some exciting stuff to talk about through them. A lot of moves were made on Saturday. If you're listening to this, so if you're listening to Sunday, yesterday. If you're listening to it Monday, 2 days ago. If you're listening to whenever, just remember Saturday. And we got some Bucko talk. We're mixing in a little Bucko talk. They had a decent week, and they're currently playing right now. Time of recording, it's Sunday. They're playing the Brewers. They're winning 2-0. And pretty much right when Dan clicked the record button, it's 3-2 now because Rich Hill gave up a 3-run homer because he can't throw anything more than 70 miles per hour. But no Steelers talk, I don't think, unless you two want to mix something in. But how are we doing, guys?
Good, doing good.
Dan?
I'm good. I think first and foremost, congratulations is in order. Andrew, congrats on the head coaching job at Leechburg Area High School for basketball. Ryan, you're going to be an assistant?
Yeah, I mean, I'll do my best.
Okay. Well,
I'm
congrats
there.
to you
I'm
too.
there to help.
I guess you're moving up as well. Congrats to you both. I'm good. I don't think any Steeler talk today this week because nothing exciting's happened till the end of the month. So just some Buccos and some Pens.
I'm ready to talk about the Pens. I can't wait.
Ooh. I saw the names. I only recognize a few. I'm not as well versed as you two might be, and the other teams. I keep up well with the Penguins. I know the main players on. I could probably name one or two players from every team, but I don't know like the nitty gritty guys. Like the bottom six or like some defensive pairings or even the goalies I struggle with. But I'm sure you guys will know. It seemed like a lot of the names they picked up were kind of those. What do you say? Like the gritty guys, the supporting cast. They weren't big names, but I did recognize like one or two names like right off the top of my head. So that's pretty good to see them making moves. But what do you guys want to get into first?
I mean, we'll just keep going with the Penguins, and we'll get into the Buccos since we've already talked about that. But Dan and I we're recognizing the names as that's one of the traits of a good hauler. Your rosters top to bottom, so it's not surprising. But looking at who they signed, the two big things obviously were Granlund's contract still there and Jeff Carter's contract still there, so that kind of hamstrung them in what they wanted to do. I thought the 5-year, 5 and change for Jari was a bit too high for someone who's talented but injury prone, and I think that was more of an indication of the goalie market. Whether it was a weak free agent class to begin with, and there would probably be overpays for like Connor Hellebuck, leaving Winnipeg, and even in trades. So I think that was kind of a necessity there. I love their trade of a 3rd-round pick for Teddy, so it was the pick they got from Vegas for Teddy Bluger. They traded back to Vegas for Riley Smith. That's where I was going with that. But Smith's 32. He's the Jason Zucker replacement. Zucker signed a 1-year deal with the Coyotes. So Riley Smith, he's definitely, I think, could be inserted into that top 6. But then you look at what they did for the bottom 6. Noel. I'm horrible pronouncing names. Akiari.
Acai, like the bowl.
Yeah.
How they pronounce it, maybe.
I mean, that was a good signing. Matt Nieto's a good signing. They got a couple more for the bottom 6 there. And then their biggest contract they handed out was Ryan Graves, 6 years, 6-year deal. He's coming over from Jersey. I believe he's 6'5". He's a big boy. He'll slot right in there with Letang on the first pairing. He's the Dumoulin replacement. Gives you a little more offensively than Dumoulin does, and he's younger. So that was a good signing. And then they made some minor league deals there. I saw they brought back Radim Zahorna today, a couple others, and they also signed a backup goalie. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yes.
Alex.
Right?
Well, yeah. So I think that's an indication DeSmith will probably be gone. They're over the cap right now, so there will be more moves to be made, whether it's sending people to Wilkes-Barre or trying to clear out some cap room, whether it's a Granlund buyout, trade, something like that. But the big news yesterday was they're one of the two teams that was in on Erik Karlsson. So could you imagine they get him on the blue line? I'm assuming that would take at least a first round pick, probably Owen Pickering, and a decent bit of more, depending on how much cap room the Ducks would be willing to eat, because his contract is 11 million. So there'd have to be some salary moving out depending on how much they eat of that. But overall, I'd give it a B plus. They didn't add much scoring to the bottom six, but they got guys that'll be way better defensively. So I think that was the big plus for what they did, with their forwards.
Here's the thing. I know Dan promised to say something, but
You're good.
My memory is short when it comes to hockey, so I want to get this out of my mouth right now. But I saw something like the Penguins, when it comes to first round picks, like not many have made it to Pittsburgh in the past, say Crosby era, because they haven't needed them. They have Crosby. They just need the supporting cast. So I wouldn't mind for this final push that we're probably gonna get the next, what do you say, 2-3 years at most.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind trading like this next year's first round pick maybe for Karlsson. Well, not like one of them, not all of them, but if you're gonna go all in. Get one more cup out of the guys, and I'm okay with rebuilding and doing it the Pittsburgh way. Culture's established, but let's make one more good push. We got the GM that's willing to make the moves, like we saw this weekend. I haven't seen that much action from the Penguins for as long as I can remember, and I've been following them pretty well since about 16, like from just understanding free agency and following moves like that. That's kind of when my interest in like off-season stuff started with hockey. So, like, I'd say this is the most that's went on in that period of, the Penguins making moves. So, yeah, I'm all in for one last good push.
Yeah, and I forgot the other guy they brought in was Lars Eller. So
that's the other name I recognized.
The other big name, that was the one I forgot.
It was Riley Smith and then Lars Eller were the two that I was like, that lights something off in your brain. So if you get one or two, like, signings that light something off in your brain, it's like, your team's trying to be a contender is all I should say. But it's exciting. It's going to be a whole new looking team. I know we're always going to have that core three until they leave, but I think this is going to be the most different looking team that we're going to see in a while. There's a lot less familiar faces in the back end of things.
I think Kyle Dubas is doing all the right things so far. I know his tenure is very, very short so far, but if you're a fan, you get excited because he's making moves as a GM, not just sitting on his hands. He bolstered the bottom six, which is great. Got rid of Dumo. I mean, his time was come and gone. He hasn't been the same since his injury. And you fill in there as well with that defenseman coming from Jersey. It'll take some time to get used to some of the names and stuff like that, but October, it's coming fast. It is, but it's exciting because you were so weak in your bottom six, forwards wise. It was hard to see because you had your top six were rolling. You had Crosby and Malkin playing out of their minds in their mid 30s. They just didn't have any support. The big thing is, I heard possibly you're going to have a Rust maybe get moved. Because Granlund, nobody wants to touch that contract. That handcuffs him. A bad contract to take on. Thanks, Ron Hextall. But somebody like a Rust might be on the move, and I know that people like Rust, but had a bit of a down year last year. So we'll have to see what transpires and who gets moved. It's still early yet in the free agency and stuff like that. So we just had the draft. And like you said, Ryan, they normally didn't have first round picks because Jimmy Rutherford and Ray Shero were not afraid to move those first round picks to try and pick up assets to win cups and win now. And when you had a core like you do, that's what you have to do. Mm-hmm. So you don't have first round picks and be a winning team. You bolster your lineup to win now with those first round picks. You ship them off and you get players in return to help you win cups. And they did that. They did. So we can't complain. I think they have 2 years at most, maybe 3. I don't even think they have 3. So we'll have to see what transpires, how this team comes out at the beginning of the year, what it looks like halfway. But even 2 years, I feel like, is a stretch. It's this year and maybe next year. So a lot of the guys that they signed were to 1 year deals, but they were to bolster your bottom six and get depth there and guys that can play at the NHL level. So we'll have to see how the year goes, I guess. Everything on paper looks right and everything looks good, and Kyle Dubas doing his job, but we just have to see these guys play and how they mesh and play in the Mike Sullivan system as well.
Yeah, agreed. Like you said, thing with the draft picks, you trade your future for your present. And whenever you have Crosby, Malkin, guys like that on your team, you're always going to be a contender. So, I'm fine with that. Good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for this year. I miss hockey. I think this is the first time in a while we didn't have a nice stretch of hockey in Pittsburgh in probably about 18 to 20 years. So I think this will be a big year. We'll have a better year this year than last. I think the results of this past season are going to light a fire under their ass, hopefully, and, make them take it to the next level at least give it one last good push. Like Dan said, this year, and then next year will be iffy, and then I think that year 3 is going to be the maybe farewell tour kind of deal that, we saw the Red Wings do with Datsuk, Zetterberg, all those kind of guys. So we'll see. I'm going to stay optimistic. I'm just going to enjoy the ride for the next however X amount of years. So just enjoy the ride. It's the opposite of the Pirates. We're enjoying the ride to the window, but with the Penguins, we're enjoying the ride in the window and possibly window closing. So, appreciate what you got in front of you. We've kind of had to do that a lot lately with the Steelers, Big Ben. Just appreciate what you have while you have it there. Enjoy Penguins hockey. Enjoy Crosby, one of the best players probably to ever play the game. Probably could have had a couple more cups if it wasn't for head injuries whatsoever. But, there's my Penguins rant. Sentimental.
I just want to touch on one more thing. I think the contract they gave to Jari was not what I wanted to see, and I understand the market for goalies right now, but I think you got to give him a 1 year prove it deal after being hurt the past 2 years and kind of fumbling for the Pens down the stretch. I mean, I understand injuries happen. I get that, but how do you shell out I think it's like 7.3 mil for 5 years to a guy who hasn't played a full season the past 2 to 3 years? Whenever he became the guy, I think that's a bit steep. And I don't know if it's common in hockey to give guys a 1 year prove it deal like you see in football a lot. You see it in basketball as well. Just a prove it deal. Hey, we'll bring you in maybe just above minimum for your position, but you prove that we'll sign you long term. But you got to think, they say goalies don't hit their prime till they're 30, so he's getting just into his prime.
But and the thing too is, the market was weak this year, so those prove it deals, some team was going to offer him maybe even more, just because there's nothing really out on the market. So I know, like you said, Dan, teams do prove it deals. There was talk of that with Jari, halfway through last year's hurt, but I think the market kind of dictated that, all right, we'll lock him up, when he's healthy. He's had some bad injury luck, the past couple of years. He's tried playing through it when he probably shouldn't have, but I just think that's more of an indication of the market that said, the prove it deal just wasn't really feasible for the Penguins because there was really no clear-cut upgrade over Jari aside from probably Connor Hellebuck.
And like you said, with when he's healthy, and people like to scoff at this. When he's healthy, he's an all-star. Look at his numbers the beginning of 2 years ago, halfway through. I mean, his save percentage was through the roof. His goals against average was, minimal. Win losses was huge. When he was in there, the Pens were winning way more games than they were losing. And then you get your backup in there, and I understand your backup. But like we've said before, your backup's just there to tread water. So if Casey DeSmith's gone, we'll see if this cat they got from Detroit can just help him tread water, because Jari is injury prone. And they even say now you kind of have to have a pretty good tandem to make it anywhere in the playoffs. Look at a lot of the teams. Look at Vegas. I think they were on to their third goalie at one point in the playoffs. So you got to have some depth at goalie. It's the most important position, I believe. If you don't have a good goalie, you ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's kind of exciting to start getting the Pens buzz. I am a big Pens fan, so we'll see here. It's just around the corner. It really is, because you got to think. The end of this month, we got training camp for the Steelers. Into preseason.
The Stellars.
And Vincent.
In the preseason, and once I think the season starts for the Stellars. You get the Pens preseason going, and then it's in the regular season. Next thing you know, we're full blown, 2 more major sports in Pittsburgh to talk about. So,
yeah, we'll have the tail end of the Buccos. Who knows?
Yeah.
They might be, if they're still 5-6 games back in August, like, we'll still be talking about them.
Yeah.
They go on a run. Who knows? Cruz will be back. We'll still be talking Buccos. Last year at that time, we weren't even thinking Buccos. We're all Steelers, a little bit Penguins. But it'll be an exciting August. I think August will be big for the pod. We'll be talking about everything. We'll have a nice long show, a lot of stuff to talk about. And I think we got to give the Pirates a little credit. They've kept it exciting for us, at least a little exciting.
Yeah, we segue right into them then, huh? I'm done on the Pens talk. I don't know about you guys. I can't speak for Yins.
Oh, I didn't have much to say. You guys covered Jari. All I was going to say was maybe they signed him that long because it'd be a little trade bait in its prime once the window is closed. I don't know. They get a couple assets out of him, I don't know. But yeah, let's go Buccos.
Go
What do we got?
Lead us into the Buccos, Ryan. I know you've been pretty high on the Buccos lately, so
no, I haven't been high on them. Yeah, I've been enjoying them. I'm a Bucco enjoyer right now. I was beginning of the season, I was a Bucco optimist. Was that what do you call it? Optimist?
Yes.
Optimistic?
Yes.
And then I was teetering. I was a Bucco teeterer. So I was in and out, in and out. And then I decided, hey, I'm just done worrying about it. I'm just a Bucco enjoyer. That's what I am. But they've had a decent week aside. Well, no, they've just had a good week. They lost yesterday, but aside from giving up 11 runs, they gave themselves a chance there at the end to come back at least within 3 runs. It was 11-8.
Yeah, 11-8. Yep.
But hey, don't give up all those runs. Any day you score 8 runs, it should be a win, ideally. But aside from that, I don't think they lost a game. They swept the Padres, which the Padres aren't slouches. I know they're having a bad year for as much money they spend on Soto, Tatis, Machado. Probably Yu Darvish is making a bag. Musgrove, I think, is making Cronenworth, But hey, Padres, it's a large market team. Technically, they spend the monies. So hey, you get beat by the Buccos. Tough luck. Especially, it's good to see the young guys playing well. Reynolds didn't play until today. Hayes has been out all week, and Cruz has been out since 3 moon cycles ago. So I think we're on the waning gibbous right now. He'll be back by the waxing crescent or something. I think it was a projected moon cycle, and he's coming back. But hey, the young Buccos got it done. So round of applause for Gonzalez Davis. Triolo made his debut this week. He's Gold Glove defensive. I think single A, maybe A ball.
Was he a Gold Glove single A?
Yeah. The Gold Glove. They only give out one of those things entire league. He was on the Grasshoppers. He got a Gold Glove. That's what I heard.
Greensboro Grasshoppers. Put some respect on their name.
You talking about the cat that plays third? Has been playing third. Yeah. They were oohing and awing about him. I know Greg Brown was saying that. He's like Brian Hayes when he was coming up. So.
He doesn't have the bat.
No. They met in the field. Yeah,
he was phenomenal in the field. The other day, I think he had a pretty sick play, a nice, ground ball to third where you don't think he'll get him out, but they do. But he don't smack the cover off the ball. He had an infield single where the ball just was rolling and just stopped on the third baseline. So he's not going to smack the cover off the ball, but he'll be a good plug-in guy, I think, for the infield. I think he can play third. Maybe short and second too. I don't know. I don't know his spread, But
Yeah, if there's anything the Pirates need, it's another utility player. That's what they've really been lacking on the roster these past few years.
yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me. That's all they. It's like they put out 9 utility players the past couple years. But
Can you just get someone that can play a position and play it well? Is that too much to ask as a Pirate fan?
Yes, because when you call up Henry Davis to catch, but he's out there in right field, I mean, it's all in the system. It's all in your skipper and in your management. So
Dan's a big skipper guy. I know that. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
Confirmed skipper guy. Yeah.
confirmed skipper guy. Yeah. But
he'd be a skipper. Like if we were in the 1700s, you'd be like piloting a ship.
Would I?
Yeah.
What do they call captain?
Yeah, captain ship. Yeah.
You'd be on the mast. You weren't a crow's nest guy. You would not be a crow. You'd be the guy that would have one knee up on the mast with like the telescope or like the sword pointing at which way to go. That's like what you'd be doing. Or you'd be the guy that would be in like a boat fight and you'd have a sword and you'd cut the one sandbag so it like distributes the weight and then you'd fly up in the air while holding the rope.
Yeah.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just saying Dan would have been like Jack Sparrow. That's essentially what's going on.
Pretty much. You want me to do
Do
a
you
Jack
disagree,
Sparrow run
Dan?
for you? What's that?
Do you disagree that you wouldn't be doing all that?
No. I'd start leading sea shanty as well. You want me to
All I'm
start
gonna say
singing
is
sea
same
shanties?
thing. If I was a pirate, I would be going all in. Like if you're a pirate and you're not wearing an eye patch, you're not getting scurvy, and you're not like looting, like you're doing what's the point in just floating around? Just be like what would that be? Back in the day, just a tradesman or something.
Essentially, big castaway.
Yeah.
Like if you're gonna be a pirate, go all in. Like have a
Vigilante.
sword, telescope, something.
Pilot
Kaleidoscope.
So we're already, a little off topic here, but I don't know if you saw the article that said ships could be moved by like giant kites now, to be energy friendly. Like, is that not a sailboat?
Yeah.
Or did we just forget about that period in time before like the steam engine came around? It's not a novel concept at this point. That's literally a sailboat.
Sailboats still exist. They're still prevalent. They're still around.
Their frame
That's
is
what
like
I'm gonna say next.
long kite. Like
What's
no
next? You can move it with large pieces of wood that have like large like paddles on each end.
Yeah.
That's called a rowboat. Google it. Like, what are we talking about?
I don't know. There's just way too much sea stuff. You go in there, you got the Pringles can being controlled by a PlayStation controller, and it's been. I'd say, I'm gonna go on oceans on the hot seat. I don't know if it's the ocean itself, but more of a seafaring vessels.
Or how about just man's infatuation with the ocean and large bodies of water?
I wouldn't say that. I'd just say like the obsession with. There's a reason why large boats sank, and like don't go near it again. Yeah. Like if you pee on an electric fence, you're not going to pee on it again. So if a boat wrecks somewhere, don't go look in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong about
that. Trouble. Like if your buddy goes in the woods and never comes out and got eaten by a tiger, or you'd be like, hey, let's go check this out in a tin can or something. Like, no, you're eaten by a tiger too.
Yeah. So I was thinking about this. I know we're off the rails. We'll get back on. Don't worry. There's only one shipwreck in the world that I'd want to go see. Do you guys know what it would be?
Probably the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The Edmund Fitzgerald, yes. 100%.
How far down's that?
I don't know.
Isn't it not even that far?
I don't even think, did they ever find it?
Isn't there a song about it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Put some respect on Gordon Lightfoot's name right now.
He just passed away.
Yeah. 1975 went down. She was located in deep water and soon found afterwards in 2 pieces in 75. So, yeah, let's see how deep was she? It's on the lake floor.
530 feet.
It's on a lake?
Yeah.
Wait, 500 feet, you said?
530 feet down.
That doesn't seem too far, right? Or no, it might. How much is a mile? 1,000
feet?
2,000? Yeah, how many feet are in a mile? I don't know.
Isn't it like it's 20-some hundred feet?
Okay, so the Titanic was what, like 3 miles down or something?
2 miles.
2 something, almost 3,
Yeah.
2.7 something. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't check it out, but I mean,
Fitzgerald.
Let me know.
Oh yeah.
29 men went down with the ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who did?
Listen to-
29 men. Yeah.
They didn't just swim.
No, he was, or the lake was a little rough that day.
Yeah. Have you never listened to the song? It explains the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Where is this lake at?
It's the Great Lake they call Shigumi.
It's not like a Great Lake though, is it?
That's what he says. Yeah, it's is it Superior?
I thought it was
Lake Ontario Lake. What's the other? Great Lake. There's
going from Chicago to Lake Superior. Yeah, it was going from
Lake Superior.
Yeah.
They were going from Chicago to Cleveland with a load of iron ore, 27,000 tons more.
Good for them. I mean, they never had to go to Cleveland. So.
True.
Kind of a win.
Hey, but as the big freighters go, it was bigger than most.
Hey, if my boss was like, "Hey, take this ore to Cleveland," I'd explode my boat too and go down.
But they said
that place smelled horrible when we went.
What? There was like hurricane force winds on the lake that day and big waves and shit up on the lake, and that's why it went down. It was bad. It was only like 15 miles and they could have made Whitefish Bay.
Yeah.
So listen to the song, Ryan. Everything I'm saying is in that song. It'll educate you.
Whitefish Bay? It's in there too?
It's in there, yes.
They say something about Cleveland in there, like good thing they didn't make it to Cleveland.
Yes.
I do like a remix about good thing I didn't make it there.
No.
Like, place stinks.
Yeah, it's all in that song.
I'm surprised for as much as you troll and like listen to sea shanties, you have not heard that.
I know the song. I just I know the I just don't know the song. Like I know the song. I know it's connected to that. I just don't know the lore behind. Like you could have told me it crashed in the Pacific Ocean. I'd be like, all right. Like I've never looked that far into it. I know a lot of people get like emotional about it for like no reason. They're just like really into it. Probably because like 29 men on there were like manly men. You got to respect them for going down with the ship. So people are probably just paying their respects for it, and they respect the men on the ship.
Who's a big fan of the song? DJ.
Yes.
Huge Edmund Fitzgerald guy.
Huge Edmund Fitzgerald guy.
If you're looking, he's the Edmund Fitzgerald crooner. That's exactly who he is.
Just like the captain and crew, well seasoned. I mean,
yeah. Well, good for them, I guess. Legends in the making, or legends in the made, because they're already made.
So,
but the Bucko talk. Another thing we got to touch on: Carlos Santana walk off. That's probably one of the coolest game enders we've seen since G1 Bay hit a home run against the Astros.
I mean, but the only thing that ruined it was Greg Brown.
No, the only thing that ruined it was on Apple TV. They didn't have Greg Brown on the call because that would have been cool. So he would have been singing Santana on air.
He was on the radio that game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they put him, I think, on the radio whenever they're on Apple TV because that's how it was last Friday. But I like the way Apple TV does it. Like they have cool, it's appealing to the eye. Like I like their little graphic box. They have like good little camera angles. It looks a lot cleaner than what AT&T Sports does. But I think it's because AT&T Sports is like going broke and they're maybe like poor or something. I don't know. But hey, I wouldn't mind if Apple TV picked them up and we got to see it for a reduced cost maybe, or give the hometown discount somehow. I don't know.
No, everything is going streaming, and I don't like it. Like you get Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime now. You got to have 18 different streaming services to watch your Buccos games, your Stellar games, your Penguin games. Any if you want to watch out of market games, like I think it's ridiculous. I don't like it. It's just too much because then it's too much for the consumer. Like me, I have Fubo because I get AT&T Sports on there, so I get my Pens games, I get my Buccos games, but then the Buccos games aren't on. AT&T Sports are on Apple TV. Why do I want another streaming service? I just think it's a pain in the butt. What? Go ahead.
Unpopular opinion. So before streaming services, we have AT&T Sportsnet. Root Sports was decent.
Yeah.
Penguin playoff games growing up. You know what channel that was on, Dan?
Is that the Fox? Not Fox. It was like FS.
Versus.
Yes.
No, that
yes.
wasn't. They weren't
Yeah.
all.
Yes.
They still have versus, right?
Oh.
They have something like that. There's TNT does something. I thought now it's kind of like a.
He does it now, but Versus was like
They were every game.
not every game,
Yeah.
but like
the
playoff
first
game.
Yeah, you get the first couple rounds were on Versus, then they'd be over on CNBC. Whenever you got into like the conference championship and then the cup final would move over to CNBC because then you get Doc Emmerich there. It calls from Doc.
Before Root Sports.
Oh,
I remember
what
that
was it?
It was like the bubble graphic. Remember in the top right, it was all just one square with the bubbles. The Penguins were like the gold mustardy yellow PIT. Was it like Fox something? That's the first one I remember. Mark Recchi was playing. That's how I remember it. That was the first graphic I remember.
I know Dan's looking it up right now. So Dan, aside from Doc Emmerich, who's the broadcaster that famously beat a fan with his own penny loafer?
Well, he played for Boston, went up in there. Barry Melrose? No. What the hell is his name? Don't tell me. It's good. It's
Melrose has
Mike Melberry. Mike
Melberry.
Yeah, I remember he tweeted something and there was a hit or something in a Pens game and he took exception of it. They might have been playing Boston. And I said, coming from the guy who went up in the stands and beat somebody with their own penny loafer, you got a lot of room to talk. Blocked.
Oh, you're blocked by Milbury.
Yes, I got blocked by Mike Milbury.
No way.
That's like one of the only people I've ever been blocked on Twitter by.
I got blocked by Pittsburgh Dad #1 fraud.
That's fair.
And who was the guy that used to be on Friends that was like with Barstool for a while and he was feuding with them?
Michael Rappaport?
Yeah, Rappaport. He blocked me. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't even know why.
I think he's funny.
Yeah, I don't even know why. Whatever.
I don't think I have anybody.
You have to have somebody. Someone has had to have blocked you.
I don't do it on Twitter. The only time I went off the rails on Twitter is whenever I was so mad about NHL last year. Remember that? And I was tweeting EA like all day, like telling them how bad their game was.
You know who got blocked by somebody? I think it's the greatest block of all time. Is Luke Werner getting blocked by Biz Nasty?
Oh yeah,
because he was chirping him and he couldn't take it. Like, you're a hockey player and Paul Bissonnette wants to go and block our buddy Luke Werner because he couldn't take him chirping him. Oh, it was great. Yeah, he's still blocked to this day. I'll bring it up to him every now and again.
One to look up is Big Ben 7. You know, Big Ben's like Twitter. Look up that he blocks like a bunch of random people for like.
If you say anything wrong about him, he'll block you, like off the rip. It could be true. You know, you could say that he's got 3 kids and he's a saint, but you don't like what he fed them last week. Boom, blocked. You know, yeah. But anywho, back to the Buccos. I just wanted to say, whenever your starting pitching is holding teams to 4 runs. Like they did the Padres twice in 1 run. I know they swept them. You should win those games. Look at the series before that. They held the Marlins to 4-2-1. I know they scored 6 runs in the first game. They ended up winning the one where they held them to 1 run. But you need just that little bit more production with guys in scoring position, guys on pace, and they were getting that in the Padres series, getting big hits, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I know this team isn't built for the long ball, but that's what's winning games right now. Your pitching is holding the opposition to 4 runs. You got to be able to score 5 runs to win a game in the MLB right now, and we're seeing glimpses of that. We are. I don't blame their pitching at all. It's at the dish still, so I just want to see a little bit more production. And like Ryan said, Hayes been out. Reynolds is out. I know Kutch was out when Reynolds was out as well. So you're missing some key pieces there, but you're getting some young guys in there. just think if they would have brought some of these guys up a little sooner when they were stifling in May, where they could actually be right now. I know they're still in the hunt. They're 4.5 back, but they could be ahead if they would have just called the cavalry up. And I think that's what's frustrating for Buckeyes fans right now, because you're seeing that these young guys are ready. They're coming up. They're producing. They're getting plugged in, and they're producing at the big league level. I think that if they would have done that a little sooner, there'd be a lot more optimism for this team and for this season. They wouldn't be, oh well, we're in the hunt. We're leading the hunt. We're top dog. You know, they're hunting us. So,
yeah, because I think even if we're not top dog for bringing those guys up when we're struggling, at least would still be a lot closer in the race. I know we're not far off, but say that week where the Pirates just pooped the bed, you know, and they had to get their sheets changed afterwards. Like, say they would have brought up Gonzalez and Davis earlier. That week where they lost every game to divisional opponents, that was like the momentum change of the season. Like, forget how bad they were in June, or what was it? What month did it? June, right? They had a bad stretch before that too, right? They lost a bunch and they won a couple more, and then the A's series kind of derailed them a bit. But I feel like it's a lot different scenario if they go all in on that week where they played the Brewers and the Cubs for the first time. I think the divisional race, like, you don't see the Reds on the top at that point. You might see the Buccos and the Brewers 1-2, like interchanged, maybe, you know, still battling back and forth. Like that one week where they're like, it was always felt like as Brewers were at the top and the Pirates were half a game back, or the Pirates were on top and the Brewers were half a game back. Like, I don't know. I think that 1 week will come back to haunt them more than we realize when it comes to the end of the year.
Yeah, they were like what's his name? Danny DeVito and Always Sunny, you know, poop in the bed, thinking it's funny. You know, no one else thinks it's funny. It was a mystery. It was like Bob Nutting was playing a game of Who Done It. It was him the whole time. Yeah, you call up those prospects. Yeah, Dan, I'm going there. I'm making obscure references. I've just been laying down the law. That's what I'm talking about.
Like,
right?
yeah, Bob Nutting was too slow. He pulled out his prospects. He needed to whip them out. You know, he needed to get out there a little faster.
Yeah, and
get him out there a little faster.
Yeah, you're sitting 4.5 back, so you're still interested and you're still kind of invested. That 9 straight losing to the Brewers and Cubs and then Brewers and then the Cubs
starting
again.
off with the A's too.
Yeah, it's just tough. No, the A's series was before, like a couple series before that.
I thought that's where it started off, like the crap like stretch. I don't know. It's all a blur.
But if I just think they could have captured that momentum, and I understand you call these guys up and they you know, we might not have produced with these younger guys, and you know, it happens. I get it. But what risk do you have to take? There, you know, it's low risk for you. It's high reward, because, like I've said, you're a year ahead of schedule. That's fine. Accept that for what it is, and take that year, that extra year, to get these guys up and give them experience. The A's were the beginning of June, and then we had the Mets come in and swept the Mets, and then the Cubs and Brewers. So there was a series between the A's and then starting with the Cubs, Brewers, and Cubs. But you know, they're playing. A lot of these games are competitive. They are coming down, I wouldn't say to the wire, but they're keeping you interested. I would just like to see a little bit more to keep me even more get me invested. You know, I'm interested. Let me get invested into this team. And I understand you got Cruz coming back, and you know, your big guys were hurt, but it just shows that these younger guys were ready. Bring them up. Who's evaluating this talent that they have, that they say they're not big league ready? I want that guy. He should be on the hot seat.
Or probably Bob Nutting's wallet. He wants that extra year of control time. That's all he cares about, man.
It was running out of the buns on Dollar Dog Night. That's what started this whole thing. That was the domino that fell. But looking at their schedule, this week they have a 4-game series against the Dodgers, which those are all late games. And then they play 3 against the Diamondbacks. And I'm just scrolling through. They don't play a divisional opponent all of July after today's game.
Nope.
So the next series they play is probably in Milwaukee on, I think it said August 3rd.
Yes.
But I don't know how I feel about this stretch. They had the Dodgers number, I feel like, early in the season, but the Dodgers at home, I think they're going to be a little hungry to punch the Pirates back after, the little bit of trash talk. And that was when they were, I think, first getting that hype from the media, like everyone was talking about them. That was when it kind of kicked off, I think, was a little bit against the Dodgers. So they're going to be looking to punch them in the mouth. The Diamondbacks, aren't they leading their division?
Yes.
Or yeah, they're no slouches. Usually they're a little, like easy win, not easy win, but they're not a stellar team. They're not, I guess, a big market team, but they're very solid. The Giants, they're all right.
They're 3.5 back from the Diamondbacks. The Dodgers are 3 back from the Diamondbacks. So the Diamondbacks are leading that division. You got the Dodgers at second, and then the Giants.
I think the Giants were on a big hot streak.
They were. So you're playing the top 3 teams in the NL West coming up. That's a big stretch of 4, 7, 10 games.
This is a big month. Like this could get really bad really quick, or you could just be treading water. Because I feel like having series against teams like that, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like the Pirates did pick it up a little bit, but they weren't playing the best, of competition the past week, I guess you could say. But they really got to step it up. July might be, the biggest month they're going to have all year. Like divisional opponents aside, if you don't make it to August, at least going 500 in July, like you're done. Like, I don't care how far back you are, how many divisional games you have to play. If you lay an egg, like you lose 20 games in July, like you're toast. Game over, season over. Turn in your playbook, turn in your bat, turn in your gloves, turn in your batting gloves, turn in your sunglasses, turn in your little eye black roller, turn in your pants, turn in your cleats, turn in your undershirt, and then turn in like your ball cap, turn in your alternate ball cap, turn in your away game ball cap, turn in your water bottle, turn in flower seeds, just turn it all in. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, because you got to look. They got the next 3 series against the top of the NL West, and then you go and the Guardians come in. They're second in the AL Central right now. They're only a game back of the Twins. The Twins had a resurgence. I mean, who saw that? So you have a tough stretch of 13 games coming up all through July. You think that May was a bad month? This could be a make or break month, because if you go out there and let's say you play 500 ball against in these next 13 games, that's huge. It really is. It could sway the tide. You could turn the tide here, because then you have the Angels come in. We all know about the Angels. Or you go to Anaheim and you play the Angels, the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And then when you're out there, you play the Padres as well, and you already smacked them around. You could have a big month, or you could have a big month, or you could have a bad month, and you think May was a bad month. This could turn out to be a very bad month for the Buccos, or a very like I'm going to say right now, you play 500 ball in the month of July, that's a win. And I understand that the gap in the window to make the playoffs might grow, but to me, you got to look at the positives. If you're playing those top teams that tough, and you're being competitive, that's a character building month for this group of guys.
And all I'm gonna say is the only positive we have is I don't know who the heck the Reds, Brewers, and Cubs are playing, so maybe they'd be in the same boat.
Here,
So I don't know what their schedule is. The Pirates are already in a hole. I'd say they're not in a deep hole, but they're digging a hole each, and they're maybe knee up. They're knee down in a hole right now.
Oh, here you go. The Reds will play the Giants, Diamondbacks, and then the Dodgers, and then they play the Cubs at the end of July. Okay. So they got a tough stretch as well. And then who else? The Brewers. The Brewers will play Cubs, Reds, Phillies, Braves in the
Brave series
in the month of July. So
that's the first time they're seeing the Cubs and Reds. Maybe, I don't know.
So they're playing divisional games in July, but then they got the Phillies and the Braves in the month of July as well. So, and neither of those teams are slouches either.
Yeah.
They're respectively 1 and 3 in the NL East. So,
but I'd say the easy part of the Pirates' schedule is done. You know, they had their time. They played their easy opponents, and they're what 4 games under 500. So treading water right now. Or just tread the water in July. Just tread the water. Keep maybe in range of 3 to 6 games back, maybe 7. And hey, if you have a hot August and end September strong, you might have a chance at a division title. Maybe it's still within reach. I feel like they got to play out of their minds though. Down the stretch.
Probably, yeah. They'll have to make a run. Simple as that.
Yeah, we'll see what's in them. They're either gonna, and I think a good indicator is this week. Those 4-0 games that they both came back on, and even yesterday 11-0. Those are games in previous years where the Pirates are like rolling on their bellies. They're saying, "Hey, we're done. We're gonna put, so and so from Ben Gamble on the mound or whoever, and they're gonna have a position player throwing." But hey, they had moxie. They went out there. They didn't win last night, but hey, they put up 8 runs when they were down by 11. So that it was good to at least have as Dan would say, a puncher's chance there at the end. To come back, and then you're down 4-0. I think it was also Friday and Thursday as well. You're down 4-0, or one game in the Padres series, in the first series against the Brewers, or the first game against the Brewers, maybe they're also down 4-0. And back in that second stretch of losing, a 4-0 game was like, you're not coming back from that. That was just the feeling. You're not going to come back from a 4-0 lead. There's parts of the season where like a 2-0 lead felt like, hey, the Pirates aren't going to come back from this. There's just, but hey, they gave themselves a chance. And now that a 4-0 game doesn't feel like it's the end of the world anymore. It feels like, hey, they have a chance, But yeah, that's all I got to say. Buccos, enjoyer. Bucco enjoyer.
Fair enough.
Anyone else got anything else on Buccos?
No.
No? All right. Well, what do we got next? Anything? We talk Pens. We talk Buccos.
Jag of the week. Is it time for Jag of the week?
Got some Jags, maybe. I don't know.
I got a good throwback Jag.
All right. I know Dan has one, right?
I got one, yeah.
And
I know I have one, but I'm trying to think of it in my head. All right, go ahead. Just go. It'll come to my mind.
So I went to get a haircut the other day, and go up to Great Clips up there in the High Park Plaza. So I always check in online, and I'm getting there, and it said like 46 minutes. So we left the house, and it was like a half hour till I had to check in, because it saves your spot. As soon as you check in, if you're next in line, you get to go. So you don't have to sit up there and wait. So it was busy. It was a Friday, 11 o'clock. So they just opened at like 10. Going up there, and there was a accident right there at the on the bypass right there by the McDonald's. Right. So it took me a little while to get through there. I was like, oh, we're going to be late. Nah, end up making it. So we get in there, and I sign in and tell them, hey, I signed in online. So I'm sitting there, and it was still going to be quite a bit of a wait. There was a gentleman already in there, and he didn't look too happy. So another gentleman goes in front of me, and then another one. And then I took the boys, and one boy went up, and you see this guy getting restless. And then a guy walks in, and he was actually in front of me, but wasn't checked in yet. Ends up checking in. So he gets to go in front of me. I understand it. I get it. Been there, done that. That's why I check in online. So she calls this other guy back, and the gentleman that was antsy finally gets up and like, oh, I've been in here for an hour. You told me. So the nice lady was trying to explain, like, hey, it's not our rule. That's how corporate wants us to do it. If you sign in online, you're ahead of anybody who signs in when you walk in. So he's all up in arms about, I want corporate's number. I want to talk to the manager. And the lady's like, you're talking to the manager. So this guy is just, he's not getting vulgar or anything, but you can see he's really upset. He's like, I'm not leaving here till I get my hair cut. So I'm thinking, why don't you just sit down, and you got to wait till after me, and then you get your hair cut, right? So the lady gives him the number, and he goes, walks out, and then so I'm like, oh, that's the end of that. And I'm watching from a distance. Then he comes in, starts hooting and hollering again. I was like, buddy, listen. The ladies have explained to you that's not their rule. It's not how they just do it at this store. It's every store. You talk to corporate. It's not their fault. Like, stop giving the ladies guff. Like, it's not on them. So he turns around and he's like, you have nothing to do with this. I was like, I'm just trying to explain to you. You keep yelling at these nice ladies. It's not right. Why don't you just, hit the bricks? So he finally goes, take my name off that list, and he leaves. Here's the thing. They tried to explain to you, and then you call corporate, apparently. They explained it to you. You don't like it? Well, that's their policy. That's how it works. So here's my thing. Older people not understanding that there's a food chain, there's rules to things, and there's different ways of doing things, and you do things online now. Like, that's the day and age we live in. That guy was such a jag. I felt bad for the ladies. I did. That's kind of why I spoke up there late. But I was like, if he would have started getting vulgar or like really starting screaming, I would have removed them. But I didn't have to because I have my kids there as well, and that's not something that they need to see. But they, if I could teach them, hey, you can step in and be a voice of reason, that's okay. Yeah. So that guy was such a jag.
That's a bad move. It is. For people who want to go out to corporate like that too, you're just a blowhard at that point.
Yeah.
Thing is, like, if that was me, I'd just like take my loss and sign up the next day. Or if this, it's not like your hair is going to grow that long in one day, and there's no situation where you're like, oh, I need my haircut right now. Like, if you let your hair get to a certain point, like, what you're getting into. It's not like your hair just like magically gets long overnight. You can start feeling when you need one.
Here's the kicker to it. I go to get my hair cut, so they call me back, and then another lady was done. There was 3 ladies cutting hair. He would have been right after me. Leaves. I get called up not even a minute later, and then the other lady's done, and then the gentleman, that was behind that guy gets called up maybe a minute after I get caught up. So bad look. I understand that you're there all day. You're there for an hour. Just wait. What do you really have to do at that age? I mean, if you're that old waiting for a haircut, do you really have that much to do in a day? Just wait it out.
What time was it?
It was 11 o'clock, so I got called up about 11:30. It had been 11:32 when that guy got called up.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty early. You probably had like an Eaton Park to drive through, a few walls to knock down.
Hey Ryan, I got a good one for you. I'm just gonna interrupt the jag of the week. The Pittsburgh Scanner Twitter account, we're all familiar with it. One came in an hour ago. Downtown on Fort Duquesne Boulevard, caller was sideswiped by a black Lexus, and the actor took off. Caller is in a white and brown furry dog suit. You can't be sideswiping furries in a Lexus and taking off.
You hit the person or you hit the person's car?
It says he was sideswiped, so it doesn't say if he was in a car or if it was like a pedestrian. But
either way, it's hilarious or like hilarious, because either way, this dude was just in the road and like someone just decided to hit him because he was a furry, or this dude was behind the wheel dressed up as a furry. So like, you can't have one or the other.
That should actually be illegal. You can't drive with a mask or anything on. So if he was behind the wheel in full costume, you could get cited for that.
It's been humid lately. You're probably sweating behind the wheel. You know?
Yeah. No amount of AC, down in Pittsburgh this weekend for the furries. None.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna have to disinfect every like surface down there.
Yeah.
And every litter box in towns need to be cleaned double. There's some human logs in those litter boxes this week.
Jeez.
Like, say a prayer for everyone's litter boxes if you have one. Or we used to like not be allowed to play in the sandbox of the park because all the local cats would poop in there.
Yeah.
Let's say a prayer for the local sandboxes tonight in Pittsburgh, because those things. Kids woke up and it was like, I don't know, it was just a bad day for them.
Landmines everywhere.
Yeah. And forbid that like one of the furries got into like the local Chipotle before and just had an absolute spray down of like the local spot.
We're gonna have to calm down with furry talk now.
I'm just saying, and that's like practice for them, I guess. I don't know.
Ugh. Couldn't tell you either way. But I got my jag, and I'll let Ryan, if you want to go last, if you have a jag.
I forget. I'm trying to think.
All right, well, I'll go there. We're a we don't forget podcast. My jag of the week is just Karl Malone. People don't forget.
Yeah,
people don't forget Karl.
Piece of trash.
I heard some people hyping him up this weekend, and I was like, find a new role model. Talk about somebody else. Karl Malone just ain't it.
No,
no.
He was in WCW there for a little while, wasn't he? Him and Diamond Dallas Page. Yeah, he was giving people the diamond cutter.
Yeah,
Karl Malone. Yeah.
But people won't forget Karl. Just remember that. No. People don't.
Piece of trash.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that. I'll say it again. Piece of trash. I'll leave it at that. If you know, you know. If you don't, go educate yourself.
Yeah. So Karl Malone. That's my throwback jag of the week.
Like it.
Anytime.
I'm drawing a blank. I really don't have any this week. So like that's it for me.
Give us like a throwback jag then.
What do you mean throwback? I'm drawing a blank.
Anybody from history? You have a chance.
A jag from history. I don't know. Can I do like a reverse jag? Like, like a scholar of the
Sure.
week?
Yeah.
So like maybe like the people that made maps of like the world, like sailors, like how'd they get the coastline so like accurate? Maybe it took them a couple tries, but still, if you have me walking down the coast, I'd be like, yeah, it's just a straight line. Like, how do they get the shape of every continent without being in the sky? Like, how wild is that,
It's wild. It is. Yeah.
Just like, think about it. They didn't have the tech to like fly or like see anything from above. Even now, like, you probably had to go to space to see that. Like,
ancient
even
aliens.
in just a regular plane, you can't tell what the
ancient aliens.
Oh, I was just saying, I thought you were trying to like prove something.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, my jag is if you go down in a tin can and then come back like not in a tin can.
You don't come back at all. Yeah.
So yeah, kids, make sure to charge your batteries and maybe bring an extra battery pack if you're gonna lose connection to your controller down there. So
yeah, if you're gonna go down, you go down like the men in the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yep.
That's simple as that.
Yep.
Do you know there's a fourth river in Pittsburgh?
That's a
that rumor?
myth. It's a myth.
I heard it's true. It goes right under the fountain, apparently. Some guy swam under there, and he saw a catfish the size of baby cows.
Has anybody claimed our bounty on Big Papi yet?
No. Not that I know of.
I think he's dead, honestly.
He ain't dead. He's just chilling.
I don't know.
But real quick, because I know we're coming to the end here, I just want to say happy birthday, America. That is coming up. This will be out, in 2 days. Get out there, Whoa.
Drop something. Sorry.
I bleed red, white, and blue. Love this country. Love this nation. Favorite holiday. Happy birthday, America.
Happy 4th, 1776, baby.
Good luck, Joey Chestnut.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Will he break the record? That's a bet I got. It's a prop bet. Will he break the world record for dogs eaten?
You can usually tell like within the first 5 if the dogs are like fast or not.
Yeah.
The dog's got to be fast.
Mm-hmm.
The dog's got to be fast. If the meat's talking and the dogs are fast, there's a chance.
Yeah.
Is Joey Chestnut an athlete for you guys? Do you think he's an athlete? Okay.
I think he's an athlete.
I think so. Yeah.
You got to train for something. I consider it a sport. If you just show up, I get it ain't a sport, really.
The Tour de France kicked off yesterday as well. So maybe I'll give you an update on the tour because I do like to watch that. Me and my old man used to watch it all the time.
That was more fun when people were doping.
Right. It was. You're not
the only
wrong.
The only time I like it is when they show like the shot from like the bikes coming this way and there's just a bunch of people like in a line.
I like when they're going up the hill and you get like giant inflatable penises running up the hill beside them and stuff, or the devil, giant bananas. I think that's great.
The other one, I like those. Like, you ever see the videos of the people at like roller rinks where they're like synchronized?
Yes.
Like doing this stuff?
Yes.
It's kind of like that when all the bikes are going.
Yeah.
We need like a good bike rack in like the Tour de France.
You get some good ones out in the peloton. You get some good ones, and next you know the whole peloton's done. It's like the big one in NASCAR.
Peloton, you need to retire.
That's what they call.
Isn't that a stationary bike?
Yeah, but that's what they call the big group of bikes.
Really?
Yes. You have like the breakaway, and then you have chasers, and then you have the peloton is the big group. You know, the majority of them.
I don't know. I'd catch a sweet. What do they call it? Like drift or something? Like in the back.
Draft.
Yeah.
Yes, draft.
I'd be riding those the whole way. I'd be going draft to draft. You don't have to pedal it all back there. It just pulls it with you, right?
And on that,
you don't have to work as hard. But yes, on that note,
plus air drag.
Anyway. Episode 50.
Episode 50. Yes, sir. Yeah, follow our socials. YouTube, we eclipsed 350. So I don't know. We got 150 to go. Maybe we hit 500 by a year. I don't know. It's going to be a steep hill to go up. But hey, I appreciate 350. So appreciate what you got. You know, the grass is never greener on the other side. But yeah, that's it. Episode 50.